Hi, this is Blake Angelos from Yamaha Corporation America here with my absolute wonderful friends at Synthtopia to show you the new CP series piano from Yamaha. The CP has two models. There's a CP73 and a CP88. The only difference between the model is the action design and kind of the idea behind each one. So the 73 note has an E to E balanced hammer action, so it's similar to how the Montage feels in the Motif XF, but it's balanced hammer. It weighs in at about 28 pounds, so the way we kind of think about this is maybe for the gigging keyboardist. Lightweight, small footprint, fits in the back of a very small car, which I love about this. Plus we have these really killer gig bags that have wheels on them and stuff, but 28 pounds goes right to the gig. Now this here I have in front of me is the CP88. The CP88 is an 80 note graded hammer action. It's a wooden action, so it has natural wood. It has synthetic ebony and ivory key tops. So the ebonies really feel, there's a tactile feel of the keyboard itself. That's great to feel. So the other thing is it has the GH3 sensor on this one, so it simulates the action on a grand piano where you can restrike the note before it comes off the top of the key bed. So it's a very fast action. This weighs 41 pounds, so it's still, not too bad as far as weight goes. Again, we have those cool bags. But other than that, they are identical. Internally, all the same sounds, all the same connection, the same aluminum alloy chassis that we upgraded in here. So coming from our previous model, this is a complete redesign from top to bottom in both sound, in both feel, and design. So let's talk about the new design. The design is a one-to-one interface is what we call it. So basically everything from here over. We have this live set here that I can save sounds and they'll show up that just basically memorize the panel settings. But from here on over, this is a one-to-one interface. What is a one-to-one interface? Well, in the same way that we have the CP80 or a reed piano or a time piano from the 60s, when you played those instruments, they had like 6 knobs or 3 knobs or 5 knobs and maybe a button. But the great thing about those products is that one knob did one function. It was part of their vibe. So when you played, you were in the music the whole time without having to dive into some menu or think through something. Because the last thing you want to do when you're playing is think. You want to just play. So with that in mind, every button on here basically does one function. So you can see I have these cool switches here. And if you have seen our Reface line, it definitely has a vibe like the Reface. The Reface CP, for example, the Reface YC, the Reface CS, those are similar. They're one-to-one interfaces. One knob does one function. So in that spirit, we have the same thing. So if I want to turn on a section, here's the piano section, here's the electric piano section, and here's the pad, strings, and other section. They call it the subsection. I simply turn them on. In the black area on the front panel, this is kind of similar in each of the sections. So you have the selector here that selects through different sounds. You have, once you're in a sound, like grand piano being the category, I can move through all the different grand pianos. You have split, octave up and down, volume and tone controls. That's similar all the way across the keyboard. Where it changes is the sort of stomp-box sort of effects. So in the piano, you can turn on and off the damper pedal resonance, which I might want to do, if I want to record and I don't want so much note bloom. But I have a compressor, distortion, drive, and chorus in this effect here that I can grab and I can see exactly what's happening here. So we have some effects kind of for acoustic piano. In the electric piano category, there's like stomp-box style effects and a drive control. And over here in the subcategory, we have an attack and release because it's pads and stuff. You want to have some envelope control. And then a few things like chorus and flange, rotary speaker, because that's where the organs exist, tremolo and distortion. Then you have a master section over here that has this button that toggles through piano. All of them on means that if I turn on the delay and I adjust the delay depth, it adjusts it for all parts. But if just one is set, I can have a piano only, with no delay, or an electric piano with a lot of delay, or a subcategory with a little delay. So you have some flexibility in that regard too. So then you have, of course, reverb on and off, which follows that, and master EQ. That's basically the entire front panel. That's all you really need to know. Now, what does it sound like? So I'll play some of the sounds here. Now, I will use this area over here just to recall some of my sounds maybe, but I can also just grab this CFX, and if I want to play an electric piano, I can just turn on that section, which is really cool. So now I have electric piano or piano. So let's talk about the piano. First piano I'll play for you is the CFX. The CFX that's like 17 years of R&D on behalf of Yamaha to ask classical pianists what they really wanted in a piano. And one of the things they wanted was a piano that had a very strong fundamental. What does that mean? That means the note that I play really pops out. There's still resonance around it because they're resonant instruments, but they designed the CFX with special hammers, with special alloys in the string, just all the way through it to design a piano that was very, very expressive like this one is. But when I want to get loud, so it has a very strong sound, but it's not a strident sound. The idea of the strong fundamental, in the same way that an orchestra tunes to the oboe isn't necessarily louder, but it has a frequency spectrum that cuts right through the orchestra. That's what this instrument does. It's the only piano that I know in the world on something like a big Rachmaninoff piano concerto that will actually speak over the acoustic or over the orchestra without being lost. You don't need extra sound reinforcement. So it gives it a very specific sound. The thing I love about this instrument is that it's great for virtually everything. Jazz, classical, and so on. So I'm gonna move to the next piano. I'm gonna hit this pretty hard here so you can hear the low end of the CFX. Now I just changed to the Bosendorfer, but you know the CFX didn't cut off. So it seamlessly switches between sounds. So you can really hear the difference between the Bosendorfer low end. Bosendorfer is an 8 to 8 octave range, C to C, so it actually has more keys on it than 88 notes. And what that imparts to this piano, even though I don't have those extra keys, you have a much more resonant low end on the Bosendorfer. The instrument itself is much more resonant. I like this for a lot of just solo stuff maybe, so maybe some more moody things too, cinematic kind of things. I love the sound of the Bosendorfer for that purpose, but it's an entirely different piano than, I mean, just listen. Here's the CFX again. Totally different sound. It's imaged differently, it's just different. Which one's better? Whatever you choose is which one's better. So I'll choose another one, the S700. We brought this piano back. This was originally in our S90 ES way back when, and that was such a popular piano that we decided to pull it out of some of our products for a while. Well, a lot of our artists said, wait, hey, bring that back. So we did. This is a completely revoiced reimagining of that great S700 piano. S700 is a 7'6". It's not like a big 9 foot, but it has this, S700 always had this super pure sound, similar to the CFX actually.
Like, how does it compare with the modems, the piano?
It's different. Different. Yeah, different way that it does things. So that's the S700. Now the last piano I'll play here, we have this idea that's called CP OS. Every 6 months we'll release a new OS that adds new sounds, and we are launching at NAMM with CP OS 1.1. It adds a C7 piano, new reed piano that belongs to our sound designer actually. That's a perfect 200 series reed piano, and then a extra 67 silver top Tyne piano that's actually a rental here at a retro place in LA. That's the one that everybody chooses if they want an authentic 67 silver top, because it's absolutely original parts, everything. So this is the C7. The C7 is a great piano. I actually have fallen in love with this piano because it's a brighter piano, definitely, but it's still super expressive. But what's good about this piano, especially for gospel players, is that it cuts, it bites. Power Grand from the Motif is a big piano in gospel community because of that feel, that cut. Notice that you hear almost just a little bit of reverb. This just sounds really good. I can totally see using this for gigs where I really want the piano to sit out. And you can hear it's a C7. It doesn't have the big low end resonance of maybe a 9 foot, but it has this, it just has this great. This is why this piano is the most recorded piano probably in history. The C7 is everywhere in every recording studio, and there's a reason for it. It sits really well in the mix, for one thing. So I'll move over now. Notice I just turned on just the section because I want to show you how easy it is. I turned on a section, now I'm on to the 73 RD. This is like one of those a felt kind of. you just heard that without the drive on. I'm gonna engage the drive circuit, and all I did was just turn on a preamp. Off, on. So I always keep that on pretty much. And the thing I like about this is that I can really turn up the drive, so I love that sound. So you can adjust that. That's the stomp-boxness of this instrument. I have 2 additional effects here. I turn this one on. I have a choice of 6 of them in here. So if I want to add something like, maybe I'll turn the drive down and add some tremolo. Or something like ring modulator if I want kind of a trippier effect. Sounds like I love that effect. That effect's cool, and I'll show you that effect later on too. I also have VCM effects over here that are phasers, flangers, and choruses. Virtual circuitry modeling. It's our modeling technology that we do at Yamaha that does really good component modeling of stomp boxes like that phaser. So there's other roads in here. I won't play them all on this, but I do want to play some of these whirlies in here. Use the term. So check this out. Let me turn on the WRs here, and I'll play 2 of them that come with the instrument. So that's called WR warm. Here's WR bright. Okay, now the last one is the sound designer's personal whirly, and what he did, he actually pulled the transformer out of the instrument and set it off to the side, so it's dead quiet. It's a great sampling instrument, but it's meticulously maintained, and I love how this one sounds. This one has a little bit of a warm thing going on. I love how that. So the whirlies in there, really cool stuff. So we also have a lot of these pad kinds of sound, and I'll actually bring some of these up over here using, you know, if I want to add more release, I have some, or pull that back a little bit. I have the controls right there. This one has a little bit of a chorus effect on it as well. So I can select sounds from this so you can hear just. These are designed for layering. So I've now turned on the piano here, so I have CFX. If I want to turn that down, again, 1-to-1 knob, I see it right here. I can bring the tone down a little bit, so it's not as bright and big in the low end. I just kind of bring it down, so it sits better as a pad. Now, if I like that, I just save it in the live set for instant recall. That's the idea behind it. One thing before I move on to the last thing that I forgot to show that I really want to show, and I'll bring it up over here on my live set, is this new U1 that we added. So the U1 is our upright piano that's probably I think it's the best selling upright piano in the world. But this U1 has a lot of character. We'll just put it that way. Check it out. So it's played in, as they say. So we had an artist, Will Wells. He plays in Imagine Dragons and some other things. Great musician. He did our launch event, our press event in New York, and he was saying, this piano reminds me, everybody says the same thing. It reminds me of, and then whatever, my mom's piano, the church piano, the piano I grew up playing. It has that vibe to it. And I have a sense this will be a very iconic sound of this instrument, actually. So I just wanted to point that out before I moved on. I do want to show you a cool thing that I love about this instrument that sort of, illustrates sort of the stomp-box-ness of it. That's the vibe of this interface. It's one-to-one. It's like stomp-box effects. Again, there's not a lot of menu diving in this section. So you kind of can play with it like it's in that fashion. So I have this thing that I call CFX loop layer. And what I did here is I have different send levels because I can do that. There's no delay send here, but then I have delays here that are all the way maximum. So I can do some pretty cool things. First of all, that's this cool kind of guitar sound that's in here. Check this out. Now I'm gonna caught the end of that release in my delay line, so I'll turn this down a bit. Good to see you, man. Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah. I absolutely, man. Yeah. All right, I'll see you. See, I gotta interrupt when Jordan Rudess says hello, you know? Okay, so now I have this delay line going. Now I can change sounds and do some cool things in here too. I can play over the top. It's not in the delay now. Now if I want to bring the piano into it, now the so the thing I love about this is that I can change to a different sound and keep this in here. Anyway, you get the idea. Turn it off here. So it's pretty cool how that works. That's that stomp box-ness of this instrument. So last thing I'll kind of tell you about is just the connectivity and some other kind of cool things. And I actually do have this, so I can show you this. So we have balanced XLR outputs on the back and line level outputs. In fact, that's how this is set up here with the camera I'm seeing. He connected to the line level output, but I'm going to the XLRs to here. So that proves both outputs are active. What's the benefit of that? This goes to my mixer, this can go to my camera, or it can go to my floor wedges. So that's a very cool option in here. The XLRs allow you to connect to a mixer without the need of a direct box, so that's pretty cool because they're balanced. You have 2-foot switch inputs, a sustain and then an assignable, 2-foot controller inputs that are assignable. You have standard MIDI and everything, but you also have USB MIDI and audio connectivity as well. So what's cool about that is that I can connect to a computer. Sorry about this. I can connect to a computer and have 2 channels of audio going to the computer, 2 channels back, in addition to MIDI control. So I can play virtual instruments from this instrument without taking a an audio interface to the gig. It's just simple. It's also iOS compatible. This is a Lightning to USB camera adapter. This is the second one that allows me to actually charge my phone while I'm connected. There's also a smaller one. But when I connect this, I'm now connected to iOS as well. And then what I like about this is that, let's say I just want to play with a backing track. So I can bring up something like this, what I was playing before. So this is Sound Mondo. It has sounds that I've already got here, set list, and then when this populates, I'll be able to save sounds into the cloud on Sound Mondo. We started that service for the Reface line of keyboards. We added ModiX and Montage to that, so you can save sounds in the cloud, download sounds from the community of people that upload sounds. Artists put sounds up there. Richard Devine has a whole set of 16, I think, performances for MODX that he used at Superbooth this year, so you can download those if you have a MODX, but we'll include CP into that. So let's say I have something here where I want to set up some sound where I have maybe the ring modulator assigned, and I want this to turn on here. So I have this, I've created this. Now I'm going to go ahead and capture that. I save that to my area, and there it is, CP Showcase. I just made this sound and captured it, and you can see it changes in here. And if I want to recall a sound, let's say I go back here and I grab something like dry CFX, boom, hit recall, and there's dry CFX. And it's cool because there's actually a file that you can play if you're not a good piano player, so you can hear what it sounds like if someone were playing it. Or I can DX Legend, dry CFX, it's all changing right there. So that's a cool part of it, is Sound Mondo for iOS. You can also connect using the Google Chrome to the computer as well. So outside of that, I think I've covered this instrument pretty well. This is the new CP series from Yamaha, CP73, CP88. Will be available, we're looking at about a mid-March time frame where you'll be able to see this in stores and buy one for yourself. It is an absolutely awesome instrument. It is mine. Now that it's out, I can now take it on gigs, and I'm so happy because it is such a great gigging instrument. So once again, this is Blake Angelos here with my good friends at Synthtopia. Thank you so much for watching.